Welcome back to the Fifth Take Podcast. I'm Cody.
I'm Matt.
And on today's episode, before we get to that, we want to introduce you to our guest. He is a YouTuber, a farmer, an entrepreneur. His name is Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Let's welcome him to the Fifth Take Podcast. All right, now we're back with an episode. Well, I'm Cody.
I'm Matt.
And we want to welcome our guest today, Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. The coolest day so far this winter. It's been beautiful out today, and my tractor's broke. I had to haul it to the tractor store, the mechanic shop today, and all kinds of fun stuff. So doing great, man.
That's awesome.
That's probably an average day, huh?
Yeah, sometimes I didn't get anything accomplished. I just put a tractor on a trailer, hauled it down the road. Neighbor came over, hung out for a bit, and answered comments all day long on social media.
Yeah. Is that something like that? Like you brought the social media thing, and that was something I was kind of wondering about, because I've got several questions for you, and we'll touch on a lot of it throughout this. Hopefully we can get through it all if we have time.
Yeah.
But the social media thing, how much time does that take up? From your farm? Because I farm,
Yeah.
I get that. It's a lot of time.
I guess maybe first of all, for people that don't know exactly who I am or what I do or any of that stuff, maybe I could define that a little bit to your audience.
And probably, go ahead. Yeah, we should have done that.
No, it's all good, man. I think a lot of my audience is probably going to be in here watching this or listening to this too. So, man, here's how it all started. I bought a camera. Actually, my ex-wife bought me a camera about 2009, I think, something like that. And I went out and was going to shoot some videos about honeybees. And I was a huge fan of this guy. I think it was 2015. I was a huge fan of this guy. His name was Wrangler Star. And he's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, blah, 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 all that stuff.
Yeah. I've watched a bunch of his.
Yeah, and Wrangler Star's name's Cody, and I've since met him. He's a nice guy. We did an ATV excursion together with Honda, which was way cool. But he kind of inspired me, and the way he inspired me, and he doesn't really know this, but really he inspired me because I watched him. I was like, if this guy can do this, I know I can do it. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I got this, right? So I've got a history. I used to live in Utah. I was in the Air Force out there as an electrician in the Air Force. Before that, I did custom car stereo installation, all the way through high school. So I was always wiring stuff up, working with my hands, building stuff into big mud trucks and lowriders, all that stuff. I had a lot of car culture in my past. We were in a lowrider club. It was called Misfit Minis, and it was all these little lowrider trucks, man, and bouncing like this,
Yeah. Bunch of slam Nissans.
Yep, Nissan's Mazdas. We cut the back out and put the camper shell on the back, and we call it crawl through or walk through.
Yeah.
There's nothing like riding down those concrete roads with the blocks that go cluck, 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 in a normal car.
Yeah.
And a lowrider here just
yeah.
So,
beat your teeth then, yeah.
Oh man, you get sick.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was falling into a bad element. It never, when you get a group of guys together and we all go cruising, you make enemies, you make friends, and a couple of my good friends got shot at. So one night we were all hanging out at the Pizza Hut, and someone drove by, and this is in Martinsville, Virginia. It's actually a little town called Collinsville, Virginia, which is about 15 minutes from Martinsville Speedway if you're a NASCAR fan. And that county is one of the poorest counties in Virginia. It's where I grew up. And we're sitting there just all hanging out in the tailgates of our truck about 4 inches off the ground. And somebody came by with I don't know what it was an automatic weapon and just opened fire on us.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah. So
Does anybody hit? Did anybody get hurt, or was it just kind of missed?
Nobody got hurt. Nobody got hurt, but it woke me up. That's for sure. So
I would say.
So about 2 days later, I went down in a little town called Danville, Virginia, which is near South Boston. It's a NASCAR area, South Boston Speedway. Danville, Virginia is the home. I don't know if you guys watch any racing, but Danville is the home of VIR, Virginia International Raceway. So it's all racetrack towns.
Yeah.
So I drove down to Danville, Virginia, and signed up for the Air Force like 3 days later. And
Oh, wow.
I took my ASVAB test, and that was showed that I had good skills in mechanics and computers and electrical. So I was an electrician. I was a journeyman electrician in the Air Force for about 4.5 years.
What'd you score on the ASVAB? What was your score?
No clue.
Overall?
No clue. I do know that I was 1 point below what back then was one of the biggest jobs you could see. It was computer programmer. And I was like, man, let me retake it. My recruiter's, he's already got me locked in, right? So, I got this kid, So I didn't have a guaranteed job when I went in, but that's what I ended up getting, which was cool, man. This all kind of leads into where it all went from start to finish. So I went in the Air Force, did basic training. They handed me this piece of paper and said, hey, dude, you're going to be an electrician. And I was like, electrician? He's like, not on the airplanes, though. I was like, yes, because I don't want to work on airplanes. That sucks. It was not my thing. I wanted to be like learning a skill that I could get out and use anywhere. And,
Yeah. I see that. Yeah.
So the first few weeks of training school, and I lived in Texas at that time, was pole climbing school. So we had to learn how to climb poles, and it was just up the pole, down the pole, up the pole, down the pole for 6 weeks straight. That was not cool, not fun, rough.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
Yeah,
I got a bunch of buddies. They're linemen, and they talk about how rough it could be out there some days.
Oh yeah, man. Pole climbing school was tough, but I learned a lot, and so I worked on not only the interior electric stuff, I worked on the exterior power lines and all that stuff, and maintained the airfield lighting on the base. So all that stuff was what I did in the military. About a year into the military, I got my permanent duty station, which was Ogden, Utah. It was Hill Air Force Base out in Utah, and I didn't know where Utah was. Like, I didn't know anything. And people from around here, we don't go north of West Virginia, and we don't go too far south of South Carolina. Like, I never went to Tennessee as a younger man, and I never went north. I never even went to West Virginia. Like, I lived in Virginia, and the furthest north I'd ever been was like Charlottesville, Virginia. It was the middle of the state. So all we know is the mountains and Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. Totally off. Yeah.
Yeah. So, doing that, I went. There's a karaoke bar on the Air Force Base. And about a year in, and I went to this karaoke bar, which changed my life. Believe it or not, it's why I'm sitting right here. It's why my guitar is sitting right there. I mean,
you have a beautiful voice.
I evidently am the songbird of my generation. I had no idea, man. I went up there and I sang "Stand By Me," and I got a standing ovation, and I was like, "This is it. I am a singer."
Yeah.
Things karaoke, right?
Yeah.
So my entrepreneur mind said, talk to this guy who's running the karaoke show and offer him, if you ever want to go on vacation, if you ever need anybody to run a show for you, let me know. I would love to host your karaoke show. And so I started. He quit. after that. Like, he's like, man, what am I doing this for? Like, I'm
Put
married.
him out of business.
Yeah, I'm married. I got kids at home, whatever. So I used his equipment, and we split the money. So his equipment stayed at my place. I DJ'd, and I started doing like 5 nights a week. And I did really well. You know, I mean, 250, $300 a night, which is good for just chilling out and drinking beer, singing, having fun, meeting girls. I mean, it was fun. So I think that leads into my, I don't want to call it stage presence, but maybe a camera presence in the social media world, where I try not to ever have any dead air, and you can read the crowd and you can figure out what they like, what they don't like.
Yeah, I got rid of that camera shyness real quick.
Yeah. So when you're on the stage, man, really quickly, you'll figure out whether they don't like you or whether you're doing the right thing or not. And as a DJ, all you got to do, all right, guys, give them a hand, and what about blah, 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 blah. And it's just, nobody talks. You're like, here's a Dave Matthews song.
Yeah.
Or some old country, man. That's what got me into old country music, doing like EFWs, and there was all these old veterans that were in there, and they're like, man, play Patsy Cline, play,
Oh yeah, for sure.
So Hank Senior, all that stuff. So I did that for the remaining 3 years of my Air Force time, and I was deployed to Saudi Arabia. My last 6 months in the military, I got extended an extra 6 months. I volunteered to go. I thought it'd be fun to go to Saudi Arabia. And it was, sure. It was fun. I had a good time. While I was there, I wrote out a business plan and saved all my money. I moved all my stuff into a storage unit, and I had a little Mazda B2000 pickup, like an '88 model. Put it on the base, stored it.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And so when I got out, I was rich. I was like, I got $5,000, man. I got $5,000.
Yeah. Ready to do something.
I started my first business. I was like, man, I got $5,000. I think I started my first business with like $400. And it was called Mr. Fix-It Handyman Services. And got out of the military, and I started doing that, man. And in the middle of all that, it was 9/11. So I was in business for about a year, and then 9/11 hit, and it wiped out all the business that I had, because grandma's not going to call a handyman for her squeaky front door when she don't know if she can afford groceries tomorrow.
Yes.
Sure.
So,
and that's like another thing, like, I don't mean to interrupt you, but like, you're talking about how you started a business with $400. I think a lot of people have a mindset that, like, to start a business, you need like 15 grand. You need the best of the best stuff. You need all this and that and the other to get started, to try and build a name. And I'm like, I've seen some people around here and just on YouTube and listening to people's stories. And, most people that start a business and become pretty successful in it, they start with just nothing, just the bare minimum tools, and just basically what's getting them there is their work ethic,
Yep. Heart, hands, and mind. You use all three. Your heart's got to be in it, your hands got to have the skills, and you got to have the brain for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's good.
I like that. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an original. I just came up with it. It's because I ate this apple.
Smooth with it.
Oh, that's pretty good. Work ethic's a big one, and it's something you don't see a lot of, anymore. Yeah, I'm thinking back, like my great grandparents, their work ethic was, unmatched.
Yeah.
Get up, super early in the morning and would work until they're done. But work ethic, it's not, I don't think it's what it used to be, from my past generations till now. It's I think it's took a decline.
Well, and every generation thinks that about the next generation and the next generation and the next generation, and somehow we squeeze our way through. But I think right now we really have a problem with devices. Like, people are just on their device all the time, and that's good for me in the social media world, I guess, but it's still it's kind of heartbreaking to see younger people that they're not even aware of the world around them. They're just looking at that stupid phone or whatever.
And it's like they have no communication skills.
No,
Like you get to talking to a person that's like 18 and you try and carry on a conversation with them. If you try and carry it past maybe one or two sentences, they're just standing there. They're just kind of blank faced. They don't really know what to say. You'll meet a few here and there that can carry on a conversation, but man, it's so awkward talking to a younger person. Like it's just like they have nothing to say. They just go back to looking at their phone immediately.
Yep. I think it's sucking the personality out of people, but I think that people that are smart will eventually come around and, I think they'll develop the social skills. I think there's such a gap right now with the whole pandemic thing and kids not being in school. And they blame that on kids not being in school, but what about homeschool kids?
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, they're socialized. They're just fine. So what we've got is a cultural shift here to convenience and devices that we didn't have 10, 15 years ago. And I think it's like you said, it's hurting people's people skills a lot.
Yeah.
Moving on to the story real quick. I'll make it snappy. So 9/11 hit. It wiped my business clean. I rented a car and went for a sabbatical, like I would call it. I drove up to Canada and all the way down to Mexico, down the California coast, and just took like 2 weeks. I had friends all along the way, and it took like 2 weeks of reflection time. I kept my business going. I went ahead and signed up and started taking classes, college classes. I set my sails in the direction of a pre-med science degree. It was a microbiology major, and was really excited about that. Was going to be a doctor. And my sister's a registered nurse. So she's like, dude, get your nursing degree. You can pay for your school while you're a nurse. And you can get this experience. Okay. Sounds all right. So I got my nursing degree. And quit doing the handyman thing and moved on over into the medical field and really found that I liked it. I liked caring for people and talking to people and learning about them and learning about the science part of medicine and all that stuff. Met my wife there, ex-wife, got married when I was 35, so I was on the delayed marriage program, still on the delayed child program. So got married. I told her on the first date, I'm going to move back to the country. I've got a calling back to the land. I was already growing a big garden. And so I moved up here and to the farm. One day I started working on my tractor and I was like, man, I got this video. I'm going to video this. Show people how I sharpen the blades on my bush hog. And the rest is history, man. I just started rolling with it. So to answer your question that you first asked, it's 80 hours a week, easy. I mean, I wake up in this chair. I go to bed dreaming up ideas. There's a whiteboard over here on the wall with just piles of different ideas for different videos. So yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like, with us just getting into podcasting really and kind of just trying to get out there and explore it a little bit, we found that within like the first few times of doing one, there's a whole lot more to it than what you think than just sitting down and talking and being like, here you go.
Yeah. You don't wake up.
And that's what a lot of people, I feel like when they find out that there's that much entailed to it, they're like, well, I don't want to work, my regular job and then come home and put an extra 40, 50 hours in a week into this too, because then that's going to take everything away. You know what I mean? In which we have kids and, which I'm lucky enough where I farm. So, I mean, I can kind of take off if I need to help with the kids or spend time with the kids and my wife and whatnot. But I'm blessed in that area. But some people don't have that, they don't have that flexibility that they can do those things. And it's really, you have to have I feel like you really have to have your mind is drilled to it too. I might be wrong about that, but that's the way I see it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do something, you better dedicate yourself to it. And it's like the Kenny Rogers song, man. You gotta know when to hold them and know when to walk away.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes
Exactly.
there's no shame in walking away at all. And most people do. That's why I've got over 1 million followers, is because most people walk away, and they walk away when before they get to the 30, 40, 50, before they really learn what it takes. And you got to screw up. I mean, there's no book on this. You got to mess up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's been the biggest learning, experience for us, is all the mistakes that we've made, even so far. Every mistake is something new we've learned about the whole process. And yeah,
Yep.
like you said, you've got to make mistakes in order to get better. I don't think there's any way around that.
No, not at all. And you like I said, it's like riding a bull, man. You got to get on it. And if you get bucked off, either you get back on or you get out of the arena and you don't come back, So,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's what, and like some things you were talking there in your story, you were talking about how you were a nurse and then you traveled all over. And which one do you feel like you prefer more? Well, I know you said you felt you had a call in the land with your ex-wife. You told her that. And which one do you feel like that you were really drawn to, even though you were out there? Do you feel like felt like you should have lived? You would rather live in the country, or would you rather live in the city, the hustle and bustle, the fast pace?
Well, let me tell you, the city pace is slower than the pace of this place. And you know it too. Everybody who lives in the country knows that the city or farms or anything like that the city pace, it ain't nothing. And if you want to whine about something, whine about your life in the city and how hard everything is and how you have to drive at least a quarter of a mile to the grocery store, and there's Chick-fil-A right next door, but what do we have to do? I got to put clothes on and go out to eat, right? Come on, man. I got to go pull a calf out of a cow's butt,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure.
a
lot of yanking.
Yeah, in the world of dating here, as a 47-year-old guy now, in the world of dating, I find that a lot of the women that I've dated are so busy, and they just don't have time to do anything. In reality, I'm like, you think you're busy? Come on up here. You're not even weed eating. Like, you're not mowing your own yard. You're not. You didn't even wash your car. It's like, have you ever pulled your car into the driveway, got a bucket of soap and water, and washed your car? No. My wife had never before we married, and she was I was 35, she was 25. She was 25 years old and had never washed her own car. Like,
really?
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
I got a pressure wash the John Deere, man.
Yeah.
So it's really surprising. The hustle and bustle is not in town. The pretty girls are in town, and the things to do, concerts and baseball games and fun stuff like that, I enjoy. But the hustle and bustle is right here.
Yeah, I understand that too. I guess I didn't really think of that way, because that's just kind of always the same. Because every time I go into a city, it's just like everybody's just here, there, and I look at it as like I'm that way here, but I don't think of it the same as there. You know what I mean? You just explained it. I'll drive from one farm to the next, get a piece of equipment, go to the next farm, do something here, turn around, take it to another one, go back to the shop, gotta call somebody to come pick me up, take me to another spot.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I am. That's true. I'm all over the place most
You're
days.
you're doing important stuff that matters, that changes something, and they're going to buy new shoes.
That's true. Yeah.
It might be hustle and bustle. They're just running around trying to find little chicken nuggets to eat and shoes to buy, and I mean, that's my own little opinion of it, I guess. And I lived in downtown Greensboro, North Carolina, in an apartment in the inner city downtown, and Man, I have more. There was no hustle and bustle. I just walk out on the street, walk my little dog, ride my bicycle around. And, I mean,
No.
this is hustle and bustle. Farming's hustle and bustle.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And the city seems more busy and seems more chaotic. I guess because you see all these people. You don't know what they're doing, but you just see all these people moving and going different places. They could be walking to the bathroom or going to buy a new pair of shoes and not even doing anything important.
Yeah, it's like an ant.
So I see that.
It's like an ant hill, dude. So we're the ants that are working, and they're the ants that got the hill kicked over, and they're just running around trying to find some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the city people that watch your show now are gonna be like, yeah. But it's the truth. When I moved to the country, man, it was absolutely overwhelming. I moved from a neighborhood that was half the size of my front yard.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
I lived in a city while I was in college. It's not a very big town, but it's Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Yeah. Corvette.
Yeah, where the Corvettes are. Yeah, and like I could stand in my kitchen and look at my neighbor's bathroom.
Yeah.
I was like, not for me. This ain't it. This ain't it. I'm out. I'm gone. And I think it was the end of that semester. And I told my buddies that I lived with, I was like, I'm going home. I'm going back to Greene County. I'm going to build some chicken houses. And I was like, that's what I'm doing.
There you go. Now, I wonder, do you still keep up with your buddies that you hung out with in college?
Yeah, I keep up with most of them. They still come home, and I talk to them every now and then. But I probably there's a couple of them that I haven't seen in years. But the ones that were from around here, and I still have their numbers and still friends with them on Facebook and stuff like that. I still talk to them on there, and we'll message back and forth sometimes if they come in town. I'll go hang out with them every now and then. But one of them lives in Florida. The other lives in Louisville. They're just kind of all scattered out,
Louisville, really cool town. Really, really cool.
Yeah. Not a fan.
It's a fun town to visit. It's a fun town to visit if your catalytic converter has already been removed from your vehicle.
You're right.
Yeah. Last time, a year and a half ago, I had my little Honda. I drove all the way from North Carolina to Louisville for the National Farm Machinery Show.
Yep.
And I'll be there again this year.
Oh, cool.
And my catalytic converter got stolen in the parking lot of the hotel. So I went out and started my car and go to the farm show. Popped my head out, looked underneath there. I was like,
yeah. It's a rough place.
Yeah, I never put it back. I just welded and put a piece of pipe in there, and we drove it home like that, and I've never put it back. And it gets like 4 miles to the gallon better fuel economy. And now, whenever I drive to Louisville, I take that car because I'm
straight pipe Honda.
Yeah, it's got on the pipe. It has a ha, it's gone. I wrote it in Sharpie.
Yeah, if anything, they done you a favor.
Yeah,
help this guy. You better gas me.
Yeah,
that's it.
Take some of this government part off.
Yeah.
But you were talking about you've talked about it in some of your videos. Well, I've been a fan of your videos. I've told you since golly, I think the first video I've watched of yours was like 8 years ago, something like that. And I've kind of followed along through there. And you were talking in I guess it was more recent, a video of yours. You were talking about how farm takes a toll on your marriage, and you mentioned about being your ex-wife and being divorced and things, and kind of what did the farm kind of play into that? Like how busy you were on the farm kind of play into that, or like was that just a totally opposite deal that dealt into that, or
my wife, God bless her. She just didn't have.
Lord be with me.
Yeah, but she didn't have. She's got drive. She has drive, and she still has drive. She works. Um, she has drive, and she was a nurse also. And she went on to get her nursing anesthesia degree. I helped her get through school, and she got her doctorate in nurse anesthesia. So she makes really, really good money.
Yeah.
I think the money portion of it overrode the living portion of it. And I think she just lost sight of the ride. Like, life is not about the next destination. It's not cliff notes to life. And I think she kind of wanted to work 60 hours a week and just get the cliff notes of the farm. Just get the, here's what Josh did today. Here's what Josh did. And
get the highlights, the feature points of it.
right. And then when she was off, she was happy to help, but the poor girl couldn't use a screwdriver to save her butt. Couldn't start a weed eater. Couldn't, she didn't know if we were working in the garden. I'd ask her. We rode to the shed real quick and grabbed the garden rake, and she would grab a leaf rake. Like, I had to label every tool on the farm with the Sharpie so that she knew what it was. Like, she just didn't know what things were, and she just was never challenged that way, I guess. But
yeah,
we were together for nearly 14 years. We were married for 7 years, and I think that after 7 years, you should, if your heart is in it, you should most certainly develop the aptitudes and understanding of the way these things work here in the country. But really, I got fussed out a lot for spending money. But I saw the light.
Yeah.
There was a light at the end of this tunnel, which was, I earned my living 100% on the farm and social media. And it's a good living. It's a comfortable living. I've got 10 cars. They're not nice cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a couple meters with a hater or something,
That's it. Yep. So, I think the type of living on the farm, if you bring a person to something that's outside their element, I think it definitely adds stress. But there was a little more to the story, some coping mechanisms that were very unhealthy. And in the long run, those coping mechanisms that she had, that forced me to ask her to leave. And she would leave, and then she would come back, and these negative coping mechanisms would come back, and I would tell her, "You've got to go again." So 3, she moved in and out of the farm and wants to be here still, but she moved in and out of the farm 15 times. Man, I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm a farmer. I don't give up.
Yeah.
So, and I wish her all the best, but it ain't gonna happen. Not again. After 15 times, it's shame on me at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's like, at what point do you, like you said, what point do you give up? If you really care about it, you're kind of like, man, what about this time? This time might be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Kenny Rogers, man.
Yep, exactly.
Know when to fold them, dude. And when you fold them, fold them. Don't fold them and then go back and open them.
Exactly.
Get rid of it. Move on.
Yeah.
Well, because each time, I would imagine each time, she came back and left, that plays a huge part on your mental health. And, as Josh overall, that plays a big part, on your overall well-being. So I could imagine, it's just a big impact.
Have you ever, in your adult life, had a spell, and I'm asking each of you this, have you ever had I call it a spell, or a moment where you literally wept, like uncontrollably wept? I'm not talking about like a tear, old Yeller died or anything like that. I'm talking about as an adult, you could not control your weeping, your cry, your intense emotional pain. Have you experienced that, either one of you guys? And it's okay to say no.
Yeah, one time But that's all I can think of, and yeah, my entire life, I think just one time maybe.
It's your heartbreak.
Very few.
Yep.
And it was over my wife. Well, my wife and kids, they had a car accident. But yeah, I mean, everyone was okay. But yeah, just that thought of losing, them.
It's the most uncontrollable emotion that you will ever experience in your life, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What about your neighbor there?
Yeah, I mean, yes, and mine was when it was I was really close with my grandparents. When my grandparents passed away. That's the only time that I've ever had something that's happened to me personally. I've had other things happen that bother me, but nothing that's really struck to the core like that.
Yeah.
And it's just, it was just a breakdown that, like you said, you couldn't control.
Right.
You just learned to kind of cope with it, and it got better as time went on.
It's hard for men, especially farmer men, tough guys. It's hard for us to sit back and actually admit that level of pain, and it's like what he was saying, that if you're fearing for losing your whole family, and for you it was the loss of your grandfather. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
But I felt like I could do something about that. And I'm going to tell you, in the last 5 years, I've had, now that there's no more life, it hasn't happened again. But I'm going to say about 3 episodes, like you were talking about when your wife and kids were in an accident. It's an unbelievable, just like you guys probably have an undying dedication to your wife and your family. And I had the same thing, and I couldn't let go. And it took 15 times to do that. So it's better to work it out in most cases. But if one person won't budge, you got to pull the ripcord.
Yeah. It's a hard string to cut. It's one you don't really want to cut. I could imagine.
Yeah. Well, and 15 times, it sounds crazy, but I cannot honestly sit here and say that I would not do the exact same thing.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I probably back when I was first starting, I probably took a couple girls back about 10, 12 times. And I was just stupid, But I couldn't. I mean, now I feel like, golly, if it was like that back then, I couldn't imagine it now. Like you said, that's something you just wouldn't want to give up on. I mean, you built a life, Yeah,
it was supposed to be a life together. It was supposed to be everything. I got on the front porch here and I look out, and this was supposed to be shared with somebody. And I'm here on 150 acres with 50 something cows and chickens running around everywhere, in a garden, and a pantry full of food that I canned, and
a couple cats,
a bunch of cats. Yep, dogs, cats, and anything and everything, man. So. And now it's just me. I'm here. I got to come to grips with that too. That aloneness. And I was dating a young lady for a little while, and we ended up calling it quits. Actually, this past weekend on Saturday morning.
Sorry.
Yep. Yeah. Is if her heart's not in it, and we need to moving right along, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. So dating, God.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm not. I couldn't imagine dating right now. We got a buddy that he's divorced, and he's been divorced for about 3 years, and he was like, "Man, it's wild out here."
It is. It is. My first online date, this pretty girl. I met her, and she checked all the boxes. She was a professional and college educated. She was a geologist. We went out. Yeah, I mean, this girl looked good on paper and looked good in person. And we showed up and went to this restaurant. And by the end of the dinner, we didn't even get all the way through dinner. She was trying to run her hand up my pants leg.
Yeah.
And I was like, I looked over at her and I said, this is my first date after my divorce. It's the first date I've been on in 14 years. I was like, we have the rest of our lives to get into those pants. Like, you think you might be able to talk a little bit?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Can you imagine being that family then sitting like the next table over and just sitting there staring like, "Hey, you see this?"
Dude, the bartender was so we're sitting at the bar, and the bartender came up and was like, throw that one back.
Okay, let me ask you this. You said online date. What kind of dating app did you use?
Oh man, I think it was Hinge or something like that. Hinge or Bumble.
Yeah, that sounds like a classic Tinder pool right there.
You should have been on Farmers Only.
Oh man, I don't want to get on Farmers Only. They'll be like, I know that guy.
Oh man.
Well, imagine dating and having a 1,600 video library of everything you've done for the last 8 years.
That's true. They could go back and watch everything about that. Wouldn't be like they know you. That's got to be weird too, because I'm sure you deal with that having 800 or a million followers. Like people coming up to you. I'm sure you get it. People that come up to you and I mean, it's act like they know you on a personal level. Does that ever kind of come off weird? It's like I feel like that's kind of got to screw with your mind a little bit. People that come up like know all this about you, but you're like, I have no idea who you are.
It's not too bad as long as they get it right.
Yeah. Yeah. If you hear 3 other versions, it's not the best.
I mean, I know I'm out there and I put it out there and you know, it's fairly normal. Then I walk into Tractor Supply. Most of the time it's like a Tractor Supply or Rural King or like a tractor store or something like that. I'll walk in and some people are pretty respectful. I tell them, if you see me at Walmart and you just don't want to talk to me, just go, woo! And I'll be like, yeah. And they'll be like, Stoney Ridge. And I just go over, just go over and talk to them. And I've ran into people all over the country, like, you're that, I know you from somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier that you said you're going to be back at the Farm Machinery Show this year. I go every year. And, are you going to be like, do you still do any of the work with like TYM? Are you still kind of tied in with them or have you kind of cut ties with them? Or I kind of figured when you said that you might be at their booth or something. I didn't know.
No, TYM, we worked together for about 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, something like that. And the deal that we had worked out was if I'm going to promote the tractors, I've got to have the tractors. So I basically worked off, I guess, for lack of better terms, worked off the payments on the tractors. So now they're paid for, and one's in the shop. So but our deal ended in January of this year. And I also, in the meantime, I had Select Track electric tractors, which was a pretty interesting machine. Select Track, I haven't said this publicly, but they didn't pay me. And
really?
Yeah, so
I knew you said they didn't pick the tractor up. They just left the tractor there.
Yeah, well, the story is they left the tractor there and just radio was kind of radio silent for a bit. I kept sending them invoices because our deal was a monthly payment for 12 months. And I discounted it severely because I was interested in the technology and I wanted to show it. And it's a great tractor. It's still a great tractor, and they're still in business. If you go buy a Select Track tractor, you'll love it. It's a great little electric tractor. It's 25 horsepower. It's awesome. I'm not that what is it, the nut and berry crowd guy? You know what I mean? I'm not that save the environment kind of guy with batteries. I don't think that we're going to save the environment with batteries, but I do think that battery technology in agriculture is going to come a long way in the next 10 years, and we'd be pretty foolish to ignore it. But they didn't pay me, so I told them you can't come and get your tractor until you pay me. And I gave them a deadline, and if you don't pay me, I'm going to repossess your tractor. Just kind of like mechanics lean on say you took a combine or a tractor over to a mechanic shop and he worked on it, rebuilt the engine on it, and you can pay him. Well, you don't get it back.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's pretty fair.
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah, I do too. I mean, you took time out of your day to take the videos to speak about their product and to try and get it out there to millions of people, and then they kind of get that advertised. I'd never heard of them until I watched your video, you know. And I probably saw them at the farm machinery booth, but I probably just walked right by them, you know. They've been set up there.
Their booth was about twice as big as this little room right here. So
yeah. So I mean, you know, you probably give them more advertisement than that did, to be honest with you.
Oh
And
yeah.
then for them to do that, yeah, I don't blame you a bit. Had some interest on.
That's your boy.
Yeah, it's just so anyway, off in the course when I go to the farm show, I'm cruising through there. There's so much there. But I'm cruising through and seeing interesting stuff and just getting video content for that and really just enjoying myself. That's kind of one of my work vacations. I mean, just like you come to look at stuff and you know, talk to people, see other farmers. So that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, it's a good time. I mean, you get to see a lot of stuff. I get to see a lot of stuff that I can't afford, and get to look at it. You know, my kids get to sit in it. They like to sit in big equipment stuff as well.
Oh yeah,
you know, so it's kind of like a win-win. You know, it's a good family time. I think. You know, that's one good thing about it. You can take the kids and just make a fun-filled day out of it. You know.
Yep. And wear them out.
I can't think of the last time I even went. It's probably high school.
FFA.
Yeah, back in high school, you know, 12, 13 years ago.
Nice.
No.
And then I wasn't caring about the tractors.
Oh, I know what you was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Farmer. He was hunting.
He was at Tinder date.
I was looking at equipment. It just wasn't stationary.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't be a man if you weren't. So, yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know hardly anything about farming, but I know I'd like to be a farmer when I retire. However, the more I hear about farming, I'm not so sure that that'd be a good retirement job for me.
Well, I don't know. Farming, just living that good country life. So, what do you do now?
Yeah, well, living in the country life, yeah, for sure. Now, so I'm still full time in the National Guard. I'm not sure if you're familiar with like AGR, Active Guard Reserve. So it's like full time in a reserve component.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my regular 9 to 5 is in the Kentucky Army National Guard as a training NCO. So organizing and planning and you know, all the training and stuff for the unit. A lot of admin stuff, really. So I'm a desk jockey majority of the time.
What's your rank?
E6 or staff sergeant.
Cool.
And one thing I was going to ask you earlier, you know, you asked if he had talked to any of his friends, you know, that he went to college with. Do you still talk to any of your friends that any of these guys and girls that you served with?
Yeah, we get together typically every year. We call it
awesome.
We call it the Macho Man Challenge. And we'll do like 14er. We climb a 14,000 foot mountain in Colorado, or we'll go backpack the Grand Canyon, or we've gone up to Washington State and backpacked in the Cascades National Forest. So yeah, we typically get together, or now we just get together and drink beer and talk about how fun it used to be when we could walk.
Yeah. Getting a little harder doing that as age progresses. Yeah.
Well, everybody gets kids and time and beer bellies or arm bellies. I don't know how I have a belly, but I've got one, and I don't know. I mean, here I am eating an apple and drinking water, and I've been working outside all day long, but I still maintain that fluff.
Yeah, I understand. It doesn't seem to want to go away.
No, it doesn't. I did just lose 80. I lost 85 pounds in the last 2 years. So
I was saying that's what I knew you had talked about some of that on your videos on your channel, that you had went through like a weight loss journey.
I did. I mountain biked. I used to mountain bike for a whole lot back in the day. And in college, I picked up cycling. So I'd never ridden a road bike before. I'd ridden a mountain bike up in the mountains of Utah. I had to do that. I was in Utah. To be honest with you, I was standing out by the butt can. This is back when you could smoke on campus. And I was smoking a cigarette, dude. And I flicked my cigarette into the butt can. And on the side of the butt can was a thing that said, join the cycling team. I was like, you know what? I think I'll check that out. It changed my life. So I started racing bicycles. And within the first year, man, I took first place in the Utah State Games.
No kidding. First year?
Yeah, I had a talent for it that I didn't know I had. Plus, I had all this time because I had my own business. I got my GI Bill, and I DJ'd at night, and I bought rental properties. So I had residual income coming in from the rental property.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
So, man, I was living the dream. So I would train. I'd ride, I don't know, 80 miles a day before I go to school. I rode my bike to school. It was all about exercise and stuff like that. But I still never got
Gosh.
But
80 miles before you went to school. That's crazy.
yeah, I mean, it was just what I did. I had enough income that I lived cheap, and then I rode my bike, and that was it. And I dropped a lot of weight. I was about 265. I went down to 185.
Dang, that is bad. Yeah, that is.
I looked sick, like bad.
What was the biggest motivation to make you want to lose that weight? Was there like a certain point like you got to
kind of got fed up with gaining all that and was like, I got to do something about this?
The first time or the second time? The first time back when I was biking?
Yeah. Well, both times, really. Both times, either time.
The first time, my roommate took a picture of my fat ass and put it on the refrigerator. And that's the reason I say this is because they called me fat ass for like months. And he's like, look at you, dude. You're on the phone. You got a towel wrap. I had a towel wrapped around my. Send me that picture somewhere. Dude, it might be right here. It's a motivator. It may be right here. I was wrapped in a towel and he put it on the refrigerator and I was just fat, dude. And he's like, you got a picture stuff, man. You turned into a piece of crap. And he's right. So I got skinnier.
What was that quote from Benchwarmers or whatever? Tina, you fat lord, come get some dinner.
Napoleon
Dynamite. That was the movie.
Yes, he's just gracious.
Picture me look fast.
That's crazy. Sometimes it takes like that one friend to be just brutally honest.
To really kick you into gear.
Yeah.
I mean, I was, when I wasn't in college, wasn't working, wasn't in college, wasn't going to school, I would work I'd start working at 7 a.m. and I'd be done by noon every day. And then I had 5 roommates that were anywhere from 21 to 24 years old. So what did we do? We drank massive quantities.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was every day. I would be out there waiting for him to get home, man. I'd already had like 10 beers before anybody got home.
Hey, where you guys been? I've been here all day.
Yeah, what's going on? What's Josh doing? Drinking beer, you know. So we had the party house, man. And I took all those guys with me when I DJ'd. So I would go DJ at night and like 10 beers would go with me. So everywhere I went was like a big herd of people all around me.
And like your own entourage.
Yeah.
It was fun. And then I didn't DJ so much. So I started training on the bike and my goal was to win. I just wanted to win bike races. And and I did. And then I started racing mountain bikes and moved back to Virginia. And the first year back, then I got Virginia State Champion, North Carolina State Champion, South Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee. I was like,
holy cow.
That's awesome. Hey, man, I did not know that. That's awesome.
I can ride
That's
a
a huge
bicycle.
achievement.
It was. Yeah, I was ranked, and I'm not talking about professional. In my category, I was ranked 4th in the nation for a little while, which is
Dang, that's cool.
So,
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I know we're kind of
crazy.
Yeah, I know we're kind of cutting close on time.
oh no, you're good.
Oh well, that's what I had one more thing I really wanted to touch on before this. Like, I know you probably when you started your YouTube and the social media side of things, you probably never you had ideas of what you wanted it to be, and how much now that it has become probably what you wanted it to be, which I know you still want it to grow, how much has that kind of affected your life, gaining this following, gaining all this, I don't really know how to put it, just having this social media presence on your farm, like, and because you touched on like, how farming and social media, you don't have to leave that place to make a living and a comfortable living.
Right.
How much does that play a part into that?
So how much does social media play into the farm life, or clarify?
Like, how does the social media, like, compared to the farm, like, which one is the bigger of the two on the income side as far as the help out in day-to-day life?
Oh, the farm
Kind
is
of what.
But this is the first year my farm has made money.
Okay.
I mean, when I bought this place, if you've been watching for a long time, there was no pasture in front of the house. There was no fences. There was no roads. There was no driveway. There was no shop. There was nothing. There was
Just a whole lot of land clearing. I remember. Yeah.
Yep. And to get that forage established without outside input, I fertilized once, and then started bringing in animals and mowing, intensively mowing. So to try to do that without chemicals really was a challenge. And there was just an unlimited supply of content, and a lot of content out there that I watched, other people that were trying to do the same thing that I'm doing and were successful at it. So, man, it's just like farming. It's every making minute. So today I prepped up for 2 videos that I'm going to shoot tomorrow, and they're videos that are going to actually accomplish a task. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to take my little loader out, and I'm going to load up my manure spreader, and I'm going to spread wood chips. And I figured out if I can load my manure spreader with wood chips from a local landscaping outfit, and spread it out on the land where it's pretty bare, it will grow grass. I mean, almost instantly grows grass.
Yeah.
So things like that, things that I've learned. I'm going to put a 55 horsepower tractor. I'm mating up a 16-foot batwing behind a 55 horsepower tractor tomorrow and see what it does. So
It'll be an interesting video.
Yeah. Well, 55 horsepower tractor, 53 feet, maybe 48 PTO horsepower. Will that pull a batwing mower? Since I've messed up my 110 horsepower tractor.
Yeah. I think it'll pull it, but if you get into anything thick, I think it's going to bog down rather quick.
Maybe. I don't know. We're going to find out.
We'll see. We'll have to check out the video to find out. I knew that's where it was heading. But yeah, it's just kind of like, you think about it, where I was kind of getting at, it's like people are acting like, you can't really, like, on the social media side of things, you can't make a living on social media. But now I feel like with so much people, it's like people are like starving to watch content. Like people like are so drawn into YouTube. I can speak for myself. I watch YouTube and stuff, and I don't really watch TV. I don't watch anything. I watch YouTube videos. I watch TikTok shorts and stuff like that. And then when I put my phone down, we might turn the TV on just to have some noise, in the background. And then we go to bed. But you're kind of, you kind of prove that. I mean, if you really do get dedicated to it, you can make a living off of doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be able to ready to ride the wave. Some months it's really slow this month. Some months it's really, really high. It's really, really good. So, like Facebook, I earn on Facebook also. I earn on Instagram. I earn on TikTok. I earn on YouTube. I earn on Amazon. I earn on what else? X, which is Twitter. I've got three companies editing for me. So I've got one guy that solely edits everything. I pay him about $55K a year.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've got another group that edits for me, and they probably make about $30,000 a year, taking old stuff and cutting it down and re-editing it and posting it all over everywhere. So it earns. You guys watch? I don't know. Do you watch Wesley Diesel?
Yeah, I've watched some of his videos. Yeah, for sure.
So 1 million views across social media, depending on the platform, could be anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah. So
see, that's a lot of insight. Because I mean, we don't know anyone that has anything like that. I've never met anybody. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people have that view about it because it's just you can research it, but I don't feel like a lot of the research that you look up is like even close to those ballparks sometimes. Sometimes you read something really high, some are really low, some are, you don't really know what to believe. It's just like everything.
Well, there is I'm going to pull it up on this second monitor I've got over here. There's a website called Social Blade. Social Blade.
And like even researching it too, like Google could tell you whatever, but like I'm sure you're the same way, but like I would love to hear, or I want to hear like firsthand knowledge.
Yeah.
On that
Yeah, just like what you explained to us. And I mean, like how brand deals work, like how do brands get in contact with you most of the time when they see your content, or do you reach out to them after you kind of gain a following, things of that nature? How does that kind of thing work as well?
Brands reach out to you. You reach out to brands. For a while there, I would do every Monday. It would be my brand day, and I would just reach out to people either Sunday or Monday. So it's in their inbox first thing on Monday morning. And once you reach a certain level of popularity, they reach out to you. So in my inbox and my email, dude, I probably delete 20, 30 emails with brand deals every day. Like,
Wow.
I just delete them. And I've got to earn a living at it. And I can't earn a living with somebody sending me, a widget. You send this to me. Okay, cool. Thanks, man. I don't need it. I need to pay my bills. I got cows to feed. So, and I want to retire. Like, the slap in the face. How old are you guys, first of all?
I'll be 31 this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 30 as well.
Okay. So at 30 and 31, 32, 35 years old, you're focused on just living and enjoying yourself. And then all of a sudden, dude, you're going to blink and you're going to be like close to 50. Here I am, 47. I'm the same dude that I was when I was 25. But I'm going to get old. And I'm not going to be able to move around like I used to. My knees hurt a little bit sometimes. My shoulders hurt. I still work out, still go to the gym 5 days a week. But I hurt. And I'm like, you better buckle down. If there's any piece of advice that I could give you guys right now is please, please, please watch some Dave Ramsey. Get out of debt. Get yourself out of debt and start sock away as much money into retirement as you can. Write it down. If you can do without your wife's income, put every bit of it in the bank and save. Because, you got to hit a mark. And once you get a mark, say if you have $5 million in the bank and you could earn $55K per year off of each $1 million, that's $250,000. That's bad math. That's $250K a year.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I'm that exact way. I feel like a lot of people in our age group there, they want to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
They want the flashy stuff. They want the nicest stuff. I do have some nicer things in my life, but it's not because I'm trying to impress anybody. It's because the older stuff that I had broke down, and it was getting to a point where you're spending so much on those breakdowns, it doesn't even justify
Yeah.
You know, and people just see people from the outside looking in, they just see it different, you know. And I mean, it goes for everybody, it goes every which way. But yeah, I'm a fan of getting out of debt, paying everything off, and because I'm like, once I have no bills from debts, you know, I can literally just set everything back and just collect off that and maybe instead of buying, you know, something that's a liability, go out and buy some assets, try and get some things that's going to pull me into money instead of take my money.
Yeah.
You know,
And I know younger me like had that mentality. I'm like, oh, but like if I needed to go buy a car or something, well, obviously, you know, younger me did not have, you know, say $30,000 just sitting around to go buy a new car. Well, then, you know, there's that fantastic thing of financing it, and you know, you get to a point. You know, younger me was all about financing it because I can have it right now if I finance it, and you know, now so I'm paying for sins of the past, if that makes any sense. And, you know, now that I'm a little bit older, financing it, if I can avoid financing it, that's what I'm going to do. You know, that's almost like a trap. It can be a trap,
oh yeah,
It is
you
a
know, for
trap.
the right
It's
person.
100% a trap. I mean, we all drool over new stuff, man. I had a Raptor pickup, for example, and I bought it. I bought it outright. I bought it from my uncle, paid 50 grand out of my pocket. And I had the
yeah.
money to buy it. And I knew better than to do it. I was spoiling myself. I was doing something that I probably shouldn't have been doing, and it bit me in the butt. But financing anything, if you can avoid it, you just got to do it for a few years. Once you get out of debt and you can avoid financing anything, do it. And it's hard to, it's hard to convince your spouse of that. It's hard to convince yourself of that because then that new shiny truck,
Looks
or
nice in that driveway.
or a boat on the weekend, go rent a boat, or
Yeah,
new Bobcat, go rent a Bobcat. You can rent it, enjoy it, When we go to the beach, you don't need a car you can drive to, from you guys to the beach is what, 800 miles?
it's shoot it. I don't know. Yeah, I know it takes work. Well, I'm actually going to the beach in a week and a half, and it's a 9 hour trip.
Yep.
I know it takes 9 hours.
Everybody in Indiana goes to Florida. You going to Florida?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the California to the south.
That's it. It's funny, man. They the North Carolina beach. It's closer. It's
That is true, though.
I went to
Everybody
North.
in our area, it seems like, goes to Florida.
We've got some family that my wife does that live that used to. They still go back and visit a lot in Lexington, North Carolina.
Yeah. Yep. I was there today.
They were down there earlier this year. They go down there and stay a couple months at a time in the house that they used to own down there. And I've been down there. I can't remember where it was. I've been deep sea fishing in North Carolina. Caught some massive king mackerel. And had a great time. Had a great time. But my wife is addicted to Florida.
Well, Florida's nice. But that's Indiana, folks. Go to Florida. I'll be in Indiana next month, October. I say next month after next, October 3rd to the 5th. I'll be in Worthington, Indiana, which is only about an hour from you, I think.
Well, I don't know. Well, no, you see, you're in
Kentucky. You're in Kentucky, not.
Yeah, we're in Kentucky. I was gonna say because Louisville is an hour 15, hour 25 from us.
Okay.
So, and then to get up to Indianapolis, you're looking about 3.5 hours somewhere along in there.
So that's about
along those lines.
It's probably 2.
But you're talking about going to Indiana. I've never been to Indiana and seen the sunshine. I feel like that is just a sad state.
It is beautiful. This time of year, the harvest, you guys know when the combines are running and get that harvest dust in the air.
Yeah.
The sunsets are just gorgeous. The air is beautiful. I mean, it's awesome.
I don't know. It must have just been about the times I went because we went up there and bought equipment and everything and hauled it home. It is always just like every time I've been, it's been gloomy and like just a slight mist. And it was just like, man, this is just sad.
You drive across the bridge there from Louisville to Indiana, and it just goes from, sunshine to just horrid miserable.
That's funny. I pulled up Whistling Diesel over here on socialblade.com is the website. You can pull up these guys' income and see what their estimated monthly earnings is. So with Whistling Diesel, how much do you think Whistling Diesel makes per month?
Oh gosh,
These are low. These are low estimates too.
I wouldn't even know how to guess.
I don't know. I'm gonna say as many views as his videos get. I don't know.
He got 55 million. How much?
I was gonna say 25,000 a month.
221,000.
Gosh,
Wait, hold on.
221
A month?
Yeah.
Oh my
gosh. Let's get the camera and let's jump the house.
And that's a low estimate.
That's crazy.
So you can look up anybody you want to look up and find out what they make.
Wow, I didn't know about that.
But
What was that website called?
Socialblade.com. And it's not perfectly accurate, but
Yeah.
it's sometimes a little low. So I'm looking at Wrangler Star right now, and it says 58,000 a month.
That's crazy. Even that.
That's nuts. That is nuts.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so that's what I saw when I started making YouTube content. I found these websites, and I was like, how much are these people making? Because I didn't even know you can make money at it. And I looked up some of my favorite people, and I was like, what? No way. Now, I don't make $50,000 a month, that's for sure. But
yeah.
I'm eking by. Then I spend at least 10 grand a month. So I know I make 10 grand. I only pay myself $3,000 a month, and the rest of it it's put back into the farm or into savings. And I can live on that.
Yeah. And it's shoot. Oh, I'm done.
When I know, well, and probably for you too, but if we ever made 210,000 a month, awesome. That would be fantastic. But it's not. That's all great. But then again, that's not what we're even in this for. It just goes along with, if we ever got to that level.
Yeah, that would be nice if we got to that level. But yeah, I had no idea that you could do that much just off social media, just off YouTube. But YouTube, doesn't it have an extremely to even get monetized on YouTube? Don't you have to hit a high benchmark before you can get paid?
I think it's like a 1,000 subscribers or something like that, and so many hours of watch time. If you dedicate yourself to it and you put out the content, you'll get there. And you got to feel out your content. It's like doing a comedy show, pretty much. You got to feel it out, and if people aren't responding to this,
Switch it up.
To that, and you need to move to that. So just like do you guys ever watch Cletus McFarland?
Yeah. Is
Yep,
he from Kentucky?
No.
He's in Florida.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure. Yeah. We probably know a Cletus, but it ain't Cletus McFarland.
Yeah. It's about dedicating yourself to it, and look at what Cletus is doing. So they might be wrenching on a car, or they might be flying an airplane. So he's reached that point where he can just pretty much do what he wants to do and still earn a living.
Yeah. And that's the goal with everything you do in life. You want to get to the point where you can make a living and do what you enjoy.
Even if you do enjoy it, making a living at what you enjoy will eventually, you'll hate it. It'll get on your nerves. There'll be a point where you're like, there are people out there starting social media stuff, starting YouTube channels on farms, and they would love to have the following that I have. And sometimes I'm like, man, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to go back pursue that doctor thing. While I'm doing the YouTube thing, while I'm doing the farm thing, I think I'm going to go back and get that degree, and do it. Just because I get bored easy. I'm bored working 80 hours a week. I need more.
I need at least 120.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow, that's blown my mind.
It's nuts. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
They're making good money, and my editor made more than me last couple months, which is kind of sad, but sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
And you're talking about the editor thing, and how do you even get in contact like with people, like, do you just kind of put out, or like, how do you find those types of people that do the editing for you? Like,
He was a cousin of a friend of mine, my insurance guy. He was his cousin.
okay.
And he worked IT, and he'd done a little bit of editing. And if he listens to this, which I doubt he will, he definitely is. He's very proud of his editing. He's like, I edit better than you. I was like, bro, don't forget. Don't you forget. Before you, it was just me. And I built this, okay?
Yeah.
So don't find out.
I'll go back to just me.
Yeah,
too.
I was like, I think I'm gonna have to just go back to just me if you keep being mean to me.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a lot that goes into that too. Then more than we ever expected.
Yeah, because I mean, just this podcast. I mean, I couldn't imagine cutting down 8-9 hours of content.
No.
Because I mean, we're just looking, maybe an hour, 2 hours, and trying to shave through that and pick what we think would make the best shorts to kind of pull in more people that way. And man, you really, we'll listen to it 4 or 5 times throughout the day, and then we'll write back and forth, trying to be like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And see what we find would be the best to put out. Because I've always said that, if you could put out one good clip that caught a lot of people's attention, what kind of influx would that bring in to the podcast?
I think you set your sales in the direction that makes you happy, and tweak it. Don't. It's like it's base hits. It's like having a baseball team, man. So you will base hits, home runs, swinging for the fence every time. It just ain't gonna happen. I've been hitting on my channel. I'm getting base hits. I'm getting 15,000, 17,000, 30, 40,000. 40,000 is a double. 50,000 is a double. In baseball terms, and $1 million or $2 million is a home run. But I've only got so many home runs that I can hit, and those home runs bring in that crowd. They bring in the viewers. They bring in financial gain, and they bring in sponsors, which you hinted on that a little earlier. How do you get sponsors? How do you know what to charge someone that wants to sponsor you?
Yeah,
I'll give you an example. It's really the only one I don't work with these. Well, I may have signed a non-disclosure.
Yeah, don't want to get you in trouble over here.
We'll just say this. Let's say a company reaches out for me and wants me to promote. Let's just say they want me to promote these headphones right here. All right, we got these headphones. Josh, are the coolest headphones ever. We want you to promote them, and we want you to do it once a month for an entire year. Okay, how do I do that? It's 60 to 90-second shout out once a month for an entire year. I'm going to charge them $1,000, $2,000 to do that. So they're going to pay me $12,000 for a 1-year contract to show their widget.
Yes.
And that's when you click the little button that says contains paid advertisement, and that's what keeps the shoes on the cows, dude.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, got to make money doing it. Got to make it.
Yeah.
So, and eventually we'll get there.
Eventually.
Yeah. Well, maybe so. Hopefully, my audience gets in here and listens to this and learns a little bit too about things.
Yeah, that's what,
and that's a big thing. And we can't thank you enough for coming on, and that means a whole lot to us, honestly.
Yeah, you graciously gave us your time. I mean, I know you're busy, and it means a lot to us. It really does.
Money's one thing, but you're donating your time, to us, and that's something that
You can't get back.
never get back.
Yeah.
So that's definitely appreciated.
Well, y'all are a couple good old boys, so it'll be good. You got to come to the farm show this year, and just look for me. Just look for the tallest guy walking through there.
I will. I'll definitely be there. I'll try and keep up with you and see what days you're going to be there, because I know you usually post what days you're going to kind of show up, unless you don't want people to know and you're just going to pop in. But
yeah, I'll be there every day. I don't have any speaking engagements or anything. I'm going to the Equip Expo. That's in October the 15th, I guess, and then so that'll be the first time. Have you ever been to Equip?
no, I haven't. I've
That's
never been.
pretty
I was
cool.
about to ask, what is that?
So Equip Expo is all of your landscape, lawn and garden type stuff. So you can go in and find like cool greenhouses, side by sides, zero turn mowers. I'm working with Toro this year. So I'm plugged into that green. There's a whole green culture of people that do podcasts and videos about mowing yards and the equipment that goes along with it. You've probably seen some shorts of people cleaning up like old messed up yards and finding
For free. We do this for free, you know.
Yeah.
And you guys
Yeah.
liking? Yeah. I've seen those. Yeah, they're interesting. I like watching.
Yeah. So I'm plugged in with those guys because when I first moved up here, man, I had the biggest piece of junk lawnmower. I was like, it take me 3 hours to mow my yard. I was like, man, I got to do something. So I bought an old used John Deere zero turn, and I started shooting content about what makes a zero turn better than a regular mower. And now I work with Husqvarna, Steel, Echo, Toro is a major sponsor. Cub Cadet, they all just kind of blossomed from that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can give anybody a paintbrush and tell them to paint this. You know, imagine me giving you a paintbrush and telling you to paint the Sistine Chapel. Whoa,
Might get worse.
right,
You'd be disappointed.
right. So Michelangelo knew how he would do it, and then he developed a plan. And it's how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? So you've got to find your niche that makes you seem educated when you talk about things, and be educated when you talk about it. You got to have a passion for it. So
Yeah, that's true. I believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly. If you don't have a passion for it, people see that. They feel that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
Guys,
Definitely.
it's been awesome, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Well, Josh, that's what I was about to say. Probably time we need to wrap this up. I'm grateful that you came on the podcast, man. I've enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah.
I hope that some of our listeners and your listeners that come over from your YouTube, they kind of learn kind of more about you behind the camera, you know, because I mean, I've watched for years and I didn't know a lot of the stuff you've told me. So I kind of hope a lot of other people got that information as well, you know.
Yeah, we're definitely, like I said, definitely grateful. Could not appreciate it more. If there's ever a time you want to do it again, we're always
Yeah,
always
about a year we'll do something again, man. No doubt.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that sounds good.
But yeah, so guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. If it's your first time here, come on back to the Fifth Take podcast. And we want to thank Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Go check him out on YouTube if you're coming from us.
If you're not already, subscribe to his YouTube channel.
Yeah, Stoney Ridge Farmer on all your socials.
Yep, Stoney Ridge Farmer, Facebook, YouTube. Those are our two main social media things. And then we're blossoming up on TikTok. Got about 14,000 followers there, and we're growing slowly on the other platforms. I just don't have time to post everywhere, so I got to hire people to do it.
Yeah.
It gets hectic. Even just on our level, it gets hectic with the TikToks and YouTubes and stuff on there, you know. Yeah, it gets hectic.
It does.
But, well, Josh, again, thank you for your time and appreciate you being on here. And everybody else, we will catch you in the next one.
All right, see you guys.
See you guys.
Take care.